You've heard us say that you can't quit Jiu Jitsu on a bad day. But what is it that actually gets you to come back when your body hurts, your spirit is crushed, and you feel like you're not getting any better? Not that I've ever felt any of those things.
None of us ever have. No.
Welcome to Beauty and the Gi, the podcast about Jiu Jitsu and so much more. I'm Jen Eads, a blue belt full of curiosity and questions about so many things.
And I'm AJ Klingerman, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, obsessed with Jiu-Jitsu and community.
If you are new to this podcast, welcome. We're so glad that you're here. We made a starter pack for you. You can find it in Spotify. It's on a little playlist. There's a link to it in the episode description or the show notes, wherever you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're listening in your car on your way to class. Because you're going back. Yay! So what is it that gets us to come back after those soul-crushing bad days?
Well, I often think it's community. And that tends to be the thing that gets you to come back time and time again. But, you know, like, just in general, answering your question, because I can't go in every direction. I have to hit them all. But, you know, like thinking about your goals in general, like when I have somebody talking to me about like feeling like they need to be promoted or whatever, I'm like, why do you actually do jiu-jitsu? It's not for the color around your waist, right? And a lot of times it is for community. Community is a huge part of it. So I think that oftentimes it's your, you know, favorite training partner that gets you to come back. Or, you know, this idea started because in episode 200, you joked that it should be our last podcast.
I did. Half joked.
Half joked. And I want to tell you, first of all, Nicole DeFrancisco was devastated. She was like, I do not need this kind of energy in my life right now when she listened to it. And I'm sure others felt the same way. Risser was like, absolutely not. You're like, that's not allowed. But, you know, I asked you, is it the podcast that you think is part of what kept you in jiu-jitsu all this time? And like by the podcast, I mean like the podcast and the community that we've built.
Yes, for sure. Because there are days when it's really tough and you're like, this is stupid. Why am I even doing this?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying anyone else has ever felt that, but I have. And I have a feeling I'm not alone in that.
Yeah.
And there have been times when I've really liked doing the podcast, but haven't liked doing jiu-jitsu. But it's like, you can't really do a podcast about jiu-jitsu if you're not doing it.
Right.
And then there are times when that flips, where I like jiu-jitsu better than doing the podcast. Especially maybe it was one of those times after class at 7 a.m. when I was like, oh, I'm so tired.
It's okay.
I just want to go home and go to bed now.
But then we went and got coffee.
We did. And we have a goal. We are going to add to our community. We are going to recruit, I'm just putting it out, the whole 7 Brew crew.
Yes.
I mean, somebody's got to be there to work so we can go over there and get coffee.
Well, they can come at different times.
Right. Yeah. But it's the goal.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are just out spreading the jiu-jitsu joy this morning, inviting people to come to class.
We are pushers.
Totally. But that's how you build the community. That's how I started.
Absolutely.
That's how I got here.
Yeah, it was me pushing you.
Yeah, who knew?
And here we are. But, you know, like, so then I think just that podcast came out on the Thursday before Girls Gone Gi. And that weekend, I had so many similar conversations about how, like, the role model community has kept people coming back. You know, our friend Megan Timler, who is a physical therapist, she took like 10 months off of jiu-jitsu because she quit her gym and hadn't found a new place.
Yeah.
And she had a bad experience. And it's just sometimes something like that just makes you like, do I really want to go back? And I asked her, do you think that it's like the role models and the people that you've been working with across the country? Because she does like remote stuff.
Yeah.
She's worked with me. But, you know, like the people you've worked across the country with, like other role models and stuff that kept you in jiu-jitsu, that basically like made you find a new school and start again. And she was like, I actually hadn't really thought about it, but absolutely.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it was just like all these conversations. You know, our friend Amy kind of struggles with her gym, but she has the role models, you know, like that's such a nice like reprieve from that, you know, like Nicole and Amy started from our podcast community, right? Like they were part of our podcast community. They listened to Beauty and the Gi, and then they came to Costa Rica and we adopted them. And
isn't that crazy that you listen to a podcast and then you go to Costa Rica? I mean, I like how that works.
Right? Yeah. Or even just coming to like one of our camps or something, like the indie base camp or something. Like it's so cool. And I don't know, like it's just a different experience.
Yeah. I feel like I have friends all over the place now.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
And honestly, like it's not something I do, but it's something you could do. I bet you could say, hey guys, I'm going to be in such and such city. Anybody have a place I can crash? And somebody from Beauty and the Gi, one of our listeners would be like, come to me. Yes. Or come train at my gym with me. Or, you know, like, absolutely.
I do love that.
At the Alchemize camp a couple years ago, Rissa and I met Sam and Andrea. We were the only 4 heavyweights there. So it was kind of like, those are our people. Across the room, we were like, yep. Which at Role Model, I think we have a lot more diversity in size. The Alchemized rash guards are a little tinier, so there's not as many heavyweights rocking them. And now they've been to Costa Rica. Sam's been to every one of our white belt camps. They've been to Girls Gone Gi. Like somebody joked at Girls Gone Gi that we're like this traveling camp now, right? Like we just kind of go around and train at different places, and
that's really kind of how it should be. Yeah. I feel like it's like this little circus of jiu-jitsu.
Exactly, the traveling.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah, so it's just really cool, like all the different people that you can meet, and it doesn't just have to be inside your gym.
Right.
You know, like obviously community is really important to us in our gym, and one of our like mission statements is community above all. If you are interfering with the better whole of the community, you have to go. Like that's just how we feel here. You know, we'll obviously try to course correct that, but if you're not willing to integrate into the community, I can't have you making people uncomfortable here. So
exactly. Yeah. How do you think, as the coach, you set the tone for all of that, for creating the community? Like, have you always been that intentional about it?
Yes, I haven't always been able to be as vocal, but now that it, yes. If you know, you know. But yeah, I think it starts first and foremost just from a respect standpoint. People ask questions. I'm always like, that's a great question. Like, poor Petra. Every time Petra will be like, okay, this is a dumb question. I'm like, no, it's not. Somebody else has this
I've never heard her ask a dumb question. I'm just going to put that out there.
Right? I love questions. It's one of my favorite parts of my job. Make me think. Make everyone else think. So it's showing students respect and not like making fun of them for asking a question, which is something that happened a lot with my old coach. I remember a student once being like, I'll never ask another question.
Yeah.
I encourage everyone, like, please ask, like, let's see. And I'm all the time, they're like, can we do this? And I'm like, let's try it. No, don't do that. That didn't work out. Like, yeah, let's try it. So I think it starts with respect. I feel like this is going to be like a little secret that now everybody's going to notice, but I try to make sure I greet everybody. So like, when you come in the door, I'm like, Max, how's it going? Like I try to make sure that everybody feels, I want everyone to feel like Norm and Cheers.
Yes.
Is our audience? No, our audience is old enough to know that reference.
Most of them. Some of them, maybe they have TV land.
So in this old show, Cheers, it was a bar. And when this guy Norm walked in, everybody would yell, Norm! And then
Shelly.
Yeah. She would go, Norman. But I want everyone to feel that celebration when they come into jiu-jitsu. And then just like checking on them, like recognizing, and I don't know if, I guess that's true. Okay. I was like trying to think like, do my students recognize that? But sometimes I try to tell them, hey, if there's somebody you haven't seen recently, reach out, make sure they're okay. Tell them you miss them, because sometimes people just need to know that their presence is missed. I cannot tell you how often. I cannot tell you. It's so much that like, I'll just reach out and be like, hey, I haven't seen you in a couple weeks. You doing okay? And they'll be like, oh yeah. I'll be back in tomorrow. Like, it's just like, they got out of habit for a couple weeks. They got sick or whatever, traveling.
Yeah.
And they didn't realize that anybody would notice they were gone. So I just try to teach everyone else, like, reach out.
What are some other things you think we can do to encourage community within our schools?
Like doing things outside of the gym.
Which I'm not very good at.
That is true. That is true. And everyone likes to harass you about it because they enjoy your presence. And they're like, Jen, come to the holiday party. You'll have a good time.
I went to Costa Rica, but I didn't go to laser tag.
That's true. Oh my God, laser tag was so much fun. We're going again this weekend.
Nice.
That'll be our third time in the last couple months. Have gatherings, like maybe it's watching, the Crown competition or ADCC or, Master Worlds or something like that. Trips, right? Like we took a bunch of people to Master Worlds. I think that as the coach, I should have done a better job of being like, guys, we're going to hang out at Master Worlds. Like, I felt like there were so many times where everyone was like, oh, I have our own plans. And that's absolutely fine. But also, I want our community. You're missing that we took a group trip and dyed our hair together. I want to have dinner together, too. We did have dinner together sometimes. But, and we all try to be there mat side, supporting each other during competitions. And we all try to go to the podium for people and cheer, like celebrate each other's successes. We have a friend, Courtney, who actually, she left her old gym because they were never there to support her in competition, ever. Like her coach might actually be there and just not at her mat. Not coaching someone else. Just didn't give a darn.
I can't imagine you go coach other teams.
Yeah,
like other
absolutely.
People.
Absolutely. Anytime. If you need a coach and I'm not coaching one of my people at the time, I will absolutely coach you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Risser and I have coached people like against each other. Like these are both our friends. And so you coach one, I'll coach the other. Neither one of them train with us.
Yeah. I love that. But that's how you build community.
Exactly. Yeah. We will always be in your corner. Rachel coached 1 million people at Worlds this year.
Wait, Rachel who? If somebody's new to the podcast?
Rachel Casillas. She's my coach and one of my very best friends.
I feel like we just need, since it's like the holiday season, we need a Rachel on the shelf. Instead of an elf on the shelf.
Would it have a grumpy face? Maybe if we just got like a Wednesday doll, we could.
And put a gi on her.
One year, Rachel went as Wednesday for Halloween, so I went as Joy from Inside Out. I was like, these are our perfect, I love that. We should just hide a Rachel doll around.
Yes.
Doing chaos. But yeah, she coached everyone at Worlds. I can't remember how many people she coached, but it was quite a few that aside from on her own team, like she coached everyone on her team as well. And most of those people she met through Role Model Camp.
Yeah.
Like that community was built from a camp, not from the gym. Like, I think my point here is, yes, absolutely. Build the community in your gym. But if you feel like you can't, build it outside of your gym then. Be a part of a community outside of that. How
do you recommend getting started doing that? Yeah. Especially if you're an introvert.
Yeah. Well, even as an introvert, would you like, because I'm not an introvert, so this has to be, I have to ask questions.
You're unfamiliar with
this. Let me do a study. Would you send a message to someone like on social media?
That I might do. Yeah. Yeah, because I feel like I've done that.
Because I feel like I've really like built some friendships starting with that. Diana Ford, right, had messaged me a few times on social media asking questions, asking for help. She had listened to the podcast. She built a relationship with me. Now she's been to, role model camp, Girls Gone Gi. She actually asked me, are there any camps that I can attend before July? She's like, I need more of this in my life.
Yeah. I love that.
And like she sent me a video of her daughter, like so excited when we announced the theme for camp.
Oh yeah.
Because we do the like next gen girls too, which, is important.
Yeah.
Build that tiny army community too.
Exactly.
But I think that's one way as an introvert is maybe just like building a relationship through social media. Like maybe that like behind the screen kind of thing is an easy way to start.
Yeah. Or even just like comment, like congratulations. Exactly. Somebody gets a promotion. Like it doesn't take a whole lot, I think, to kind of get the ball going.
Yeah. Yeah. I think people forget that social media is meant to be social.
Right. And not just yelling and screaming at people.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to delete anybody. But, my social media is so pleasant. It really is. And that's because I've made it that way. Yeah. Like, get rid of the people who aren't. But yeah, I teach business classes too. And when I teach on social media, I tell people you have to comment on stuff. Like, if I make a post and you liked it, it's going to say Adam and 99 other people liked it, whatever the number is. But like, I'm not going to know you liked it.
Yeah.
Right. But if you comment, I'm going to see that. So, if you want to start building a relationship with people, start interacting with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or start a podcast and let people message you.
That could work too.
I'm just saying, maybe it does.
But like we talked about camp from the introvert perspective too.
Yeah.
How did you feel like you started building the community through camp? Because you've made a lot of friends at camp.
Just being there.
Yeah.
And being willing to roll. And, you gotta pair up with somebody. I feel like you guys are pretty intentional too about making sure that the new people are welcomed, and it's not like, here you go, sign in, here you go, have at it.
See you never.
Yeah. Good luck finding somebody to partner up with.
We're actually going to do like a meetup at camp with everyone that is either there by themselves or there for the first time.
I love that.
Yeah. So we're going to kind of do a little, like, I'm going to call it party of one. Because it's your first or you're by yourself.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a little just meet up together just to kind of break the ice there.
That's great.
Thank you.
Now I feel like, all my friends are coming. And it's a very different excitement of, I get to see all my friends this weekend.
Yeah.
Which is great.
It's like the best, like, ideal type of like family reunion.
Truly.
It's like the kind that you like actually want to attend and you like love the people there. And
yeah,
definitely.
And then I always make new friends.
Yeah. Do you have an emotional support extrovert?
No, I don't think so.
I thought maybe it would be Abby if you did.
Well, she would certainly do the trick.
Yeah. But that tends to be what I see a lot is like an introvert might have an emotional support extrovert to kind of be like, come on, come with me.
Yeah. Introverts, if you can find yourself an extrovert, definitely. It's
honestly,
a good thing.
And like at camp, we try to kind of pair that up, right? Like, I'll be like, this is your new best friend. This is your new best friend. Here you go. You need a friend? Here you go.
The other piece of that too is like, it's not just camp, like check in with them periodically.
Yeah.
Like, hey, did you try what we learned? How did it work?
Yeah.
What worked, what didn't work, and compare notes on that and keep that excitement going. I think that's helpful.
If I say Nicole's name again, is she going to show up? Because this will be the third time I've talked about her.
Let's say it 3 times real fast.
Nicole.
No.
Okay. Well,
darn it.
Shoot. Now One thing I love about Nicole is after she's learned from me or Rissa or Rachel, she'll always like send a message like, hey, I hit that sweep that you taught on my coach or whatever. Like, I love that kind of interaction.
Oh, yeah.
So as the, one oftentimes like teaching at camps, if you hit the move I teach, please message me and tell me it worked, or message me and say, like, I tried it, but like it didn't work. And I'll be like, shoot me a video. I'll see if I can fix it.
Yeah. Cool. So what about when you're not the coach, but you want to start trying to build that community? Especially, I think we see this a lot, like people wanting to build the women's team.
Yes.
What suggestions do you have for that? And we have an entire episode on building women's team, which I think is episode 100. I will make sure to link to that in the notes.
Again, like things like going out to dinner or, doing crafts or playing laser tag or, any kind of little gathering like that can be helpful. It doesn't have to be like sponsored by the coach, right? Go to other open mats, like meet other women in your general vicinity. I've made a lot of my friends that way, like just traveling and training a little bit, get in some cross training. If your coach doesn't allow cross training, they're probably not the best coach. Okay. It's fear-based. It is absolutely fear-based. They're afraid you're going to leave. They're afraid you're going to find the grass is greener on the other side. I know that they say it's because they don't want you teaching their secrets or whatever. There's no secrets in jiu-jitsu. It's all out there. It's all on the internet. It's out.
I have TikTok.
Exactly.
I can learn everything.
Yes, right. Instagram, YouTube, it's all out there. So go cross train. I do know people that cross train stealth in secret. And if that's what you got to do, okay. But hopefully you're at a gym that encourages cross training.
How many moms do you think you've gotten to start training? Because you've gotten them out of the kids, from kids class.
Abby's my favorite one of that, right? We have at the same time as our kids class, we have our basics class on our other mat, and so we just ever so often get into like recruitment mode, and we're recruiting moms. And she thought we meant to bring snacks. Abby's now a 1-stripe blue belt. So, she's been to every camp since, whether it was Costa Rica or role model camp or, But yeah, I love bringing in the moms. I love recruiting them. And most of the time it works out. It doesn't always work out. Like sometimes they try it and they're like, yeah, that was not for me. But I think it gives them a good understanding of what their kid is doing, which can be really, really helpful.
Yeah.
Recruit the parents, like get them on the mat.
Well, and to have the basics class at the same time as the kids class, because if they're going to be there anyway.
Right. What else are they doing?
Right.
Except now, Abby is one of our kids' coaches.
That's cool.
She's moved over from the basics mat to helping us with kids' class, which she loves. If you're watching on YouTube, I said no. No, she does. But sometimes those kids can be crazy. Last night, I said, if I have any eggs left, they're all shriveling up and dying. Kids were rough last night. I think in general, like think about what you want from a community, right?
Yeah.
And start making that happen. Like it's kind of be the change you wish to see in the world, right?
Yeah.
What do you want in a community? What would you want from someone else? And start being that person. Start being the one in charge. I think about, we should have lunch sometime. That's never going to happen. So
Right.
be the person that'll be like, hey, can you have lunch next week?
Get the calendar out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now we're probably getting together for lunch. So
that's your get off the mat tip right there.
yes. Yeah. I've been, I have one friend I contacted her. I was like, how's life? And she said, it'd be better if you were in it. And I was like, I agree. Let's do lunch sometime. I miss you. And then she didn't reply. So I don't think she meant it.
Oh,
it's fine.
That's sad.
It's fine. But yeah, I'm often trying to reach out and, connect with people and be what I want in a friend and what I want in a community.
How about on the mat tip for this week?
So we talked about this a little bit with ego. But I think that building your teammates up is part of what makes a good community. You know, you want to cheer on your friends, cheer on your teammates.
Yeah. Yeah. I got surprised by a wrist lock this morning. And I was like,
By a white belt.
I was like, what?
She has a 4th stripe.
But then I was like, that was really good though.
Nice job.
So, now I got to watch for that.
Sorry.
It's that stuff.
Yeah. But that's, you know, like, and, you know, as you become more friendly, you can kind of do that. Oh, I hate you. You know, like, like something like that. Where, like, if it was a new person, they'd be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Abby and I had a very lively round.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Every round with Abby is lively.
That's true. All right, friends, how are you building community? Oh, did I forget something?
I just wondered if I could give a few additional shout outs of people that we've really built strong community with.
Gosh, I hope they listen to this episode.
Me too. Stephanie Meyerholes, Sarah Chamberlain, Danielle Guevara. Watch me like mess people's names up. No, I haven't yet.
I feel so much pressure right now that you're going to forget somebody. I'm totally stressed.
Here's the thing. These are just a few names that like just popped into my head that I feel like are really a strong part of the community. And you're right. I'm not going to name everybody. I couldn't. Role Models is about to celebrate 10 years. Like we've got a really big community.
Yeah.
We have 250 women that come to camp. It's a big community. But some people like just really become my friends.
Yes.
You know, like,
yes.
And I think that's kind of, you know, but yeah, so Katie Hogan from Ohio, Monica Power, Amanda and Stephanie from Hawaii. They've become part of my community. Of course, like Elena, who's teaching at camp next year.
So exciting.
Missy Bays, who has taught our next gen the last 2 years. Darian, who's also taught next gen. Tina Jo, who is just one of our favorites. We love Tina Jo so much. She's a fantastic uke. She uked for 2 of the coaches at the last camp. Lori La Paz, CJ, Wendy. Like there's just so many. I've got such a long list here, but like there's just so many just amazing people that I'm just so thankful to have as a part of my community.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Yeah.
That's a good list.
Yeah, thanks.
I feel like it's just growing.
I know. I was like, if I just took a few more seconds, I'd just like scribble down so many more names. So if I didn't say your name, I'm sorry. I love you. And I'm so thankful to have you as a part of my community.
All right, friends. Thanks for tuning in. And if you want to enjoy more of the community, you can watch the podcast on YouTube and leave comments there. You can comment in Spotify now. You can also DM us. We love to get messages, especially if you've got questions or suggestions for topics. We're on Instagram at Beauty and the Gi Podcast. I'm hanging out there at Brassy Broad Jen and also on the TikTok at Brassy Broad Jen.
And I'm AJ Klingerman everywhere you go except TikTok, where I am roll_model.
All right, friends, thanks for listening or watching, and we will see you on the mat. Beauty and the Gi is a production of the Brassy Broadcasting Company.
And brought to you by Role Model Grappling.